Seattle fan. You can tell I'm gonna be a little bit biased, but I'm gonna try to be as unbiased as possible. Welcome to Armchair GM. We talking about your Seahawks, and I'm gonna get into nitty gritty real. I'm gonna do these videos quickly now as we get closer to free agency because they're supposed to be done before free agency because we're doing a GM thing. Anyway, I'm gonna just get into the stats and rundown first so we can get that all out the way. So 2020 Seahawks. Y'all's were amazing, 12-4. You had the 17th ranked offense, which obviously isn't great. It's in the lower half of the league. 16th in passing, that's with Russ cooking, and 12th in rushing. This is with Russ cooking. The defense was not so great. It was absolutely awful in the pass defense, and then you were actually 5th in rush defense, which isn't bad. The GM, John Schneider, him and Pete Carroll, they've been running together ever since they both got there. When Pete Carroll left USC, they've been there for 11 years, so they're a gruesome twosome. So the offensive coordinator is Shane Waldron. He came from the Rams, so they're going to do some kind of Ram type things with this offense when it comes down to it. This is like the 3rd or 4th offensive coordinator ever since Sean McVay got to the Rams that has gone on and done something else. So the offense is going to look totally different once again, and I think that's one of the reasons why Russell Wilson is upset. I'm going to get into that in just a second. Defensive coordinator is still Ken Norton Jr. He's been there for a while. They've been doing the same thing for a good long time. Seattle's cap space is $17.26 million. This is also going to be a talking point a little bit later because the Seahawks have issues. So biggest need, you need cornerback, you need an offensive line, but I think guard is the biggest position. Tackle is a big position that the Seahawks need. I don't know exactly where you can get that. Going to need a running back because Carlos Hyde is a free agent. Chris Carson's a free agent. You still have Rashawn Penny, but he hasn't really played in the last 2 years, so who knows if he's even still got it. You're going to need a defensive end. There's no defensive end here. So notable free agents like Carlos Dunlap, as I mentioned earlier. You got Shaq Griffin. He's going, and that's big. You got Ethan Pocket, he's going to be gone. You got retirees. You got Greg Olsen's retiring. You got Mike Potty's retiring. This team is actually losing a lot of players, and on top of that, you might be losing Russell Wilson because Russell Wilson don't want to play there no more. Now the question is, are you going to be able to trade him? Are you going to be able to do something with that? And that's where the salary cap comes in, because you just paid this guy a lot of money. You still owe him a ton of money. So if you trade him right now, it's actually going to be a lot worse for your cap. It's probably going to eat up all your cap. If you trade him now, you will be at the bargain basement hunting for 99-cent deals in free agency because all your cap is going because Russell Wilson didn't want to be there anymore after he signed a long extension just last year. So that's the problem that Seattle is in right now. What do you do with a quarterback that's unhappy? So can you trade him? The Seahawks have no draft picks because they're in win now mode. So Jamal Adams actually cost the Seahawks 2 pretty high draft picks. Obviously the 1st round draft pick and the 3rd round. So you only got the 2nd and the 4th round pick, and then your bargain basement picks at the end of the draft. So the Seahawks don't have a lot to work with. So what can you do? What can the Seahawks do? If you get rid of Russell Wilson, what's the plan? I would hope that you at least try this new system for a year with Mr. Waldron as your offensive coordinator. See if that works. See if that creates some space for Russell Wilson. That's what I would try to do, but it seems like they're done. That relationship is severed. How do you manage this situation? It's difficult. He only wants to go to 4 teams. 2 of them seem to want nothing to do with him, so it seems like it's Chicago or bust. Or what was the other team? It was the Raiders, the Cowboys, the Bears for some reason, and it was some other weird team, and I can't remember that last team. But it seems like Chicago is the only other team that is willing to pull the trigger on Russell Wilson. It actually seems like they're trying to get something together. They're trying to play ball for Russell Wilson, but even if you send him to the Bears are going to give you what they're going to give you 4 or 5 first round picks for Russell Wilson. Even if they give you that, it's not like they're going to be all in a row. It's not like you're going to recover all your draft picks and be able to be competitive this year. And Pete Carroll's what, 75, 76 years old? He's obviously on his last legs as a coach, so he's not even going to reap the benefits of all the picks that you would get from Russell Wilson in the first place. So the Seahawks are basically in a abandoned ship mode, and they should just be selling anyway. So you're gonna pick up bargain basement picks. I got them picking up King and Drake because Arizona's not picking them back up. You need a running back. He'll probably come for cheap, and he'll probably come to a team that needs somebody. Pick up Kevin King. Kevin King played at Washington. He's from Oakland, so bring him back to the West Coast. Josh Norman, he's not really doing anything. I mean, he was the backup outside corner. At least he can come and he can play. Eric Fisher, get one of these offensive tackles that got cast off. Maybe these are the things you have to do as far as quarterback. If you do trade Russell Wilson, you're going to have to pick up Mitchell Trubisky. This team is not going to be good. I'm sorry, Seattle fan. I'm not saying this to be a hater. I'm really not. But this team's not going to be good if you trade Russell Wilson, because you made this team built around Russell Wilson. And if Russell Wilson isn't there, especially with all the rest of the pieces that you're missing and the salary cap that you'll be missing for this year, this team is not going to be ready to compete for a good long time. It's going to take extraordinary coaching, which the Seahawks haven't really gotten, other than Russell Wilson run around like a chicken with his head cut off. Like, this team hasn't been very good. They haven't been very solid in any places. Those stats that I said in the beginning has said this team has been very mediocre, and they win because Russell Wilson is able to will them to victory. And I hate that I said that, but he was able to will them to victory and come out with like last minute theatrics in order to win games. There's going to be none of that if you have Mitchell Trubisky back there. So as far as draft picks, if you keep what you got and you don't trade Russell Wilson, which I hope that you do, but if you don't and everything just stays the status quo, this is what I got. Greg Newsome, he's long, he's lanky, he's a little light, but Richard Sherman was the same way. So you get this guy in here, he'll be a good replacement. I really hope that the Seahawks can re-sign Shaquille Griffin. They didn't tag him for a reason. They probably know that they're going to get rid of Russell Wilson, so they're going to need all the cap space that they need, and they can't afford to tag anyone. You're just going to need to rebuild, and you're going to have to rebuild through the draft. Kylan Hill, he's one of those super underrated running backs. They need another running back to be in there if Rashawn Penny is your only option anyway. Try to rebuild that offensive and defensive line. You don't have much to play with, Seattle. It's not going to be a fun time next year. All the rest of the NFC West is just getting ballistically good, and the Seahawks are almost trying to tank, and might as well just start tanking right now. Get rid of Wilson, grab draft picks. At some point, you're going to have to be sorry. And if Russell Wilson doesn't want to try to lead this team, then you might as well just tank and try again next year, the year after that. Especially if he goes to the Bears and you don't get any draft picks as compensation, this team is not going to be good for a long time. Anyway, that's all I got. Like and subscribe. We're going to be hammering through this as free agency comes. Thank you for watching. See you later.